I'm Don Rumsfeld, and the name of my memoir is Known and Unknown. One of the best was also the toughest, and it was being White House Chief of Staff. One of the reasons it was the best was because President Gerald Ford was a friend and a truly wonderful human being. One of the reasons it was the toughest, obviously, was because the war in Vietnam was going on. We were facing a terrible economic situation, and he stepped in, having never been elected president or vice president, in a White House where the president had resigned for the first time in our history. The purpose in writing the book was to try to accurately portray what took place, and that those are tough decisions, and we were working with a fine group of people. Secretary of State Colin Powell is an enormously talented person and experienced, and Condi Rice is an accomplished individual. George Tenet. These are tough jobs, and what I tried to do was describe in the book the differences that can occur, which were not personal, they were substantive, and I hope I've done that, and I also think that the website documents that. Well, when you take a lot of time and write a memo and send it to 4 people, and then the next morning it's in the newspaper on the front page above the fold, it's an example of the way government works today. Obviously, none of the people I addressed it to did that, but someone on one of those staffs decided that that was an interesting memo, and they gave it to the press. The memo was called the Long, Hard Slog Memo, and what it basically did was say, think through what we're doing. Are we doing everything we ought to be doing? Are we doing things we shouldn't be doing? Are there changes we ought to make? Are there questions we ought to be asking? And it was a rather classic example of the way my brain works, and the way I tried to inject a sense of urgency into it so that this country didn't suffer another 9/11 attack. When I think of my career, it now spans about a third of our country's history, which is a breathtaking thought, to think what a young country we have, or what an old man I am. When I think about it, I think, and I hope the legacy is, how fortunate we are to live in this amazing country, to all of us to have the kinds of opportunities we've had and we have today, and that we ought to value that. We ought to value it greatly, and I hope that when people read the memoir that they'll see those opportunities, and that they'll be inspired to participate in helping to guide and direct the course of this wonderful country.